call this regular meeting, September 23rd, 2019, Buena Vista Township, to order. Roll call.
Mrs. Kelly.
Here.
Mr. Martinelli.
Here.
Mr. Turner.
Here.
Mr. Williams.
Here.
Mayor Sharilla.
Here.
On January 8th, 2019, notice of this meeting was mailed to the Daily Journal and the press and duly posted in the main lobby of the municipal complex. All requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act have been met in compliance with the Sunshine Law. We'll salute the flag. Dave, you want to lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. And Lisa, approval of minutes. You want to go over those?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I've submitted 3 sets of minutes for approval this evening. Those minutes include the caucus meeting, the regular meeting, and the executive session meetings for September 9th, 2019. All members were present.
Motion to approve the minutes as read into the record.
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Kelly.
Yes.
Martinelli.
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Sharilla.
Yes.
Item 5, announcements, presentations, and discussions. Representing the New Jersey State Police here in Buena Vista Township, Trooper Joseph Curry will give us the updates over the last 30 days. Trooper, join us at the mic, please.
Good afternoon. For stats for September, call of service 412, 353 motor vehicle stops, 40 criminal investigations, 2 burglaries, 48 alarm calls, 30 medical assists, and no Narcan deployments by troopers.
I think I read over the weekend there was a fatality on a 4-wheel vehicle in Collins Lakes, so I just want to warn people about that. There was a recent fatality right over the weekend. A young person, I think in their 30s. So it's illegal to drive on the streets, but this is what can happen. So just want to mention that. I don't know if you have anything more to say on.
It's still under investigation with the suspect in the incident.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This next award's kind of special. I'm going to ask Gene Sykes and his family to come on up here. We've got a special presentation for a young man, Jonathan Albert Miner. Would you join us at the microphone with your family, please?
Form a semicircle.
Going down for pictures.
Come right around, huh? Come right around.
Because that's permanently locked, I think.
On behalf of Buena Vista Township, I'd like to present this Making Buena Vista Proud Award to Jonathan Albert Miner. The Buena Vista Township Mayor and Committee hereby recognizes Jonathan Albert Miner for the wooden entrance sign that he made and donated to the new Collins Lakes Nature Trail at Quigley Park. The sign was beautifully crafted, and we are proud to have it there to be seen by all who enter the trail. Thank you. Presented this 23rd day of September 2019, Chuck Chiarella, Mayor, Deputy Mayor Teresa Kelly, Committeeman David Turner, Committeeman Steve Martinelli, and Committeeman John Williams.
And that's one real nice looking sign. Should be very proud.
Take a picture of it.
Get that sign there.
Everybody stand
That's a good
here.
idea.
Oh, you have a sign there, good.
Hold that right in front.
Thank you.
Maybe more to the right so the camera can see it, John.
Camera's got it.
And if you could hold it up above the fence. The cameraman can't see it above the fence. Higher if you can. That's all right. Hold them up, Gene. Hold them up above the fence.
And that sign
Gene,
is,
hold them above the fence.
that sign is already hanging at the park?
I'm talking about
At
the
nature
child
trail?
above the sign. That's what I mean.
There we go. Sorry.
All right. Thank you for your beautiful work.
The new community, hometown news comes out in the next couple of days, and there is a picture of that sign next to the park bench that's at that park, and it will really look sensational. Again, congratulations.
Beautiful.
Representing the King Community Center, the director, Mr. Quentin McClendon.
Good evening, council, mayor. I just have a brief report. September the 14th, we had our veterans, 5th annual Veterans Appreciation Breakfast. And I was just amazed at the response that we got. We had just shy over 80 veterans and their families attend. Of course, committee was all in attendance. It was a great day. We had 3 presenters. We had a representative from the VA of Wilmington, Jackie Hinker and Patrick Carney, along with Bert Carpenter, who represented the Honoring Forgotten Heroes organization. And we also had George Daly, who represented the Heroes on the Water, or HOW, as they're known. They cater to veterans that have had some deployment issues, and they use water sports and water activities to help assist them in their days. It was also attended by Assemblyman John Amato. I'd like to thank Larry Adair, who's out in our audience. He's from the Disabled American Vets. He's the commander of Post 66 in Hamilton. With his help, he got the word out to veterans, and we had a great event. So we had some volunteers, a lot of volunteers that made this come together. So I appreciate all the support and all the help that I got from the town. Upcoming at the King Center, we have our annual Halloween party coming up October the 26th. That's a Friday. That'll be at 5 p.m. And we'll also have our 4th annual Community Thanksgiving Day dinner. We're inviting everyone to come out, whether you want, you're not going out, you got family that's out of town, we will have you at our dinner. We like to put on a great dinner for those that might not be wanting to travel, or those that can't travel, those that have family, or we'll take the whole family. We've had great success over the years, so we're going to continue that. We're going to start our appetizers at 2 o'clock on Thanksgiving Day. We're starting it an hour earlier so that we can accommodate some seniors that are a little concerned about driving in the dark. So dinner will start at 3, and we'll try to get everybody out of there before it's too dark. So if you want to RSVP to that event, please give us a call at 609-704-7262. The same with the Halloween party. We're going to have costumes. We have coloring contests. So that'll also be a fun day for the kids 12 and under. So that will conclude my report.
And Quentin, I did attend the Veterans, and that seemed like the most we've had so far.
Oh, yeah.
This was the most I've seen, and so we really thank Larry and everyone you mentioned for getting more people out. It was really nice, so, and I did see that they all appreciated it,
Oh, yeah.
so.
Yeah,
And
it was
then you were
nice.
working the night before cutting potatoes, you were telling me, and, oh my goodness, Quentin.
Yeah, that was a 24-hour day.
So we thank you for all the work you put into that. I didn't realize you're like the whole day before working for that.
Yeah, it takes some time.
Oh, boy.
I'm gonna interject something, and it was really good to see the
in from the veterans home in Vineland. It was good to see them, there, and they had a good time.
Okay.
I just wanted to add, Teresa, that I also wanted to thank Larry for his involvement. He made it really a success this year, in addition with Clinton's help.
Thanks, John. Okay.
Our Director of Public Works, Brian Johnson.
Good evening, Mayor, Township Committee, residents and the public. Department of Public Works, September monthly report. Saturday, September 7th, we host our monthly resident drop-off. It was a beautiful day. We had a very strong resident turnout that dropped off brush, oil, and e-waste materials. We've been keeping up on all the roads. Dirt road's been repaired and graded. Public Works new grader is still working great. As I said before, with the newer, more advanced machine, it's been a huge working advantage to getting the jobs done a lot faster and safer, keeping up on all the roads in the township. Roadside tree and brush cutting has been done throughout the township, with the thanks of Gene and all the guys that have been very proactive in finding a lot of dead hazardous trees. We were able to cut down 6 more before they come down in the upcoming storms. Guys been doing a great job. Like I said, pointing them out. We've been putting ribbons on them and trying to stay ahead of this, because as you guys know, this township is made up of trees, and unfortunately there's a lot of dead trees. So we're doing our best to stay ahead of that. All yard waste and brush has been picked up and chipped. While I'm on yard waste, I would like to remind the residents once again. I get a tremendous amount of calls at Public Works, not understanding the collection schedule. I respectfully request that you guys either come to the Public Works facility or here at Town Hall and pick up an AC Way calendar, which will give you all the dates for yard waste pickup, along with the requirements of how it's supposed to be out and handled. It seems like most of the questions is just they don't understand the times or how it's supposed to be put out.
And is it also on the calendar?
It's also on the calendar as well.
So we
correct.
have to remind residents to check their calendar when
That's
they're
correct.
putting something out.
Yeah, it just seems like it's a simple oversight. They're just not understanding the schedule, and it's kind of getting confused. Which in return, they get a little hostile because their stuff is sitting out there and they don't think that we're not picking it up, but that's either because it's on the wrong day or they're not going by the guidelines as far as how it's supposed to put out, the length, the size, in cans that are marked yard waste. So obviously, we're not mind readers. If we just see a can that's sitting out front, we don't know it's yard waste unless somebody calls. You set up an appointment, give us your name and address, and please speak clearly with your name and address, because we're having a lot of problems with people using cell phones, and the messages are coming through very unclear, and it's hard for me to get an exact address.
And a lot of times they're slow with the message, but then when they're given the phone number, they're
Correct.
saying that too fast.
Too
I've noticed that too.
Right, or it
So-
breaks up right at the most important part. So I'd just like to remind the residents, this is the easiest way to go right here, is with the collection calendar.
And Brian, do you want to go over the schedule of the leaves too?
Can you pass that down?
Yeah.
Okay,
We just put it out.
Yeah,
this
Go
way.
for it. Thanks, Brian.
sure.
Right.
Thank you, guys.
Hot off the press today.
Not a problem.
Everything.
Perfect time. All right, our schedule for the 2019 leaf collection. There's going to be 2 pickups, as usual, to each designated area. The dates may vary according to the weather conditions. You guys can also check Comcast Channel 9 in the Township website at buenavistanj.com or the Township Facebook page for any updates. First collection, the week of November 12th, this is going to be for Collins Lakes. And the second collection for Collins Lakes will be the week of December 9th until completion or weather permitting. DeRosa Drive, Cedar Gardens, and Country Club. Your first collection is going to be November 4th, 5th, and 6th. Second collection, week of December 2nd, and that also until completed. and weather permitting. And that is gonna be our fall leaf pickup schedule for this year. And once again, we'll have these available at the Public Works facility and here at Town Hall if you guys forget the dates. Thank you, Teresa.
Thank you, Brian.
Continuing my report, large and small projects, repairs and upgrades has been made to Town Hall, MLK Center, and other township-owned buildings. And several of our fleet vehicles have been repaired. Continuous maintenance and servicing of all equipment has been maintained as well. And that concludes my monthly report. Any questions, concerns, or comments from Mayor Committee?
The only thing I would say, I got a neighbor called me about dumping on Lake George Drive in the back in the woods. It
Yeah.
sounded like it was all mostly wood and everything. They didn't get a license plate, so I reminded them to try to do that. And so they just called me about it the other day, so
Gotcha.
we might want to check it out, but
I absolutely will. And unfortunately, with all the back roads and stuff we have here in the township, illegal dumping is a huge problem for the Public Works Department, which in return is a hardship on the residents because we're constantly running around picking things up.
so we could just remind people if we see any of that to try to get a license plate and a description and a time, and then we could look for that in the future if we miss it, because usually they told me they saw this truck about 3 different times, but
Right.
did not get the license plate, so,
Deputy Mayor, if I can,
yes.
the township has now, in order to catch these violators and/or deter, have purchased deer cams. Those deer cams will be circulated throughout Buena Vista Township to all the current dump sites that we have, as well as all the other ones that we believe are being dumped upon. So if you're a violator, I would suggest you not do that. These deer cams are great. We will get not only your picture, but your license plate and turn it over to the state police, and we will also sign summonses. So this is a great project through Clean Communities, utilizing that grant money so that way we can keep our community clean. So I'd like to throw that out there, that has also just been a new program initiated through Clean Communities.
Okay,
Great.
good.
Great. Thank you, Lisa. You took the words right out of my
Sorry.
mouth. I wanted to scare the illegal dumpers,
I'll do
but
it.
you got them
It's
first.
all good.
And also, I can assure you, myself, the guys, and Gene, we have no problems diving in and rooting through this trash to pull out any piece of mail, anything we can find with a name or address, and we assure you, we are going after these people 100%.
Brian, you want to share what the latest great success has been?
Yes, we,
So that way the violators understand how serious we are.
sure, we actually, we just came upon an illegal dump site, went through everything, combed through it, found one little tiny piece of a receipt from Home Depot that had a barcode on it. One of our members, Public Works, I guess I can say his name, Soren Hunema, went through the extra work of being a PI, called Home Depot, called customer service, did not stop pushing it, and finally he got them to scan the barcode to a contractor who owned up to having the stuff. And Gene contacted the guy personally, kind of scared him a little bit, and he came right out and he cleaned up the whole dump site within one
All
day.
right, good work, great
Yes.
work. Thanks,
That's
Gene.
wonderful.
Yes. So it was a good team effort, but I can assure you, we don't take illegal dumping lightly at all with Public Works. So if you're out there and we have a chance to catch you, we're going to catch you, for sure.
All right, good work,
All right.
team.
Our township engineer, Dave Shoddick.
Thank you. I have just a couple things I'd like to touch on in my report, starting from the end. We had submitted on behalf of the township a grant to the Department of a grant application on behalf of the township for Phase 2 of Chestnut Avenue. We did that in the middle of July of this year. We're told that we're going to get information, everybody who submitted information is supposed to be notified of the award the first week in November. So we're confident that we'll get monies towards Phase 2 of Chestnut Avenue. In anticipation of that, we, with the Township Committee's blessings, have held off on Phase 1 of Chestnut Avenue so we could combine the two projects, take advantage of economies of scale and go out, hopefully, for all of Chestnut Avenue in the spring. Anytime you break a big project up into small projects, you lose a lot of money. Construction does not go as far as you'd like because of all the overhead with administrative costs. Contractor has to mobilize and demobilize, provide performance bonds, things along those lines that all cut into the monies for construction. So hopefully, with that award notification at the beginning of November, we'll be then geared up for a full paving of all of Chestnut Avenue in the spring. That's kind of where we are with that one as an update. We closed out the Richland Village drainage basin. Contractor finally came out and finished cleaning that up. So we closed that out, and that job is now officially finished. We're also working on the Public Works building. The bids in July came in higher than expected. The architect has revised the plans to remove some of the, I guess, non-essential parts of that building to get it back down to budget. We've submitted those plans to the USDA electronically for their review and approval. So we're hoping that we get their blessings relatively soon so we can go back out to bid with this project. There's one last thing that has to be done, and that's we're trying to see if we can combine the electrical services. I received today all of the old electric bills for the project. That's going to be turned over to the electrical engineer. Hopefully he can size those circuits and the DCA approves it so that we can have one service to that building instead of two electric services. So that's kind of where we're at. Hopefully I'll be bringing back bids to you relatively shortly that we can make an award. That's all that's on the highlights of my review letter.
Thanks, Dave. Anybody have questions for Dave?
Mayor's report.
I will not be doing a mayor's report tonight in lieu of a more detailed one for next month, and I'd like to thank the committee for all its hard work in the last few months of a lot of great projects that we're moving on.
Item 7, ordinances for introduction, first reading. There being none, I'll move to item 8. Ordinances for public hearing, second reading. There being none, I'll go to item 9. Public comment on current agenda items only. In order for the committee to conduct the business of the township in the most productive manner possible, meeting attendees will be given 2 minutes, all inclusive, to comment on any agenda item or items without comment or question from the committee, but only on items specified on the agenda listed for the current meeting. Please stand to the microphone at the appropriate time. State your name and address for the record. Item 10, resolutions. 192-19, authorized payment of bills in the amount of $110,107.94. Item 11, consent agenda. Consent agenda includes items of business which are not controversial and do not require individual discussion. A motion approving the consent agenda is moved, seconded, and voted upon as one item by the Township Committee. If any discussion is requested on the consent agenda, it is removed from the consent agenda to the regular agenda. Resolutions. 193-19, approving budget amendment chapter 159 for community development block grant for 2018. 194-19, approving budget amendment chapter 159 for community development block grant for 2019. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll make a motion to open to the public on the current agenda items at this time.
Motion to open to the public?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, anyone from the public would like to speak on any of the agenda items, please come up to the microphone at this time.
Please.
No one at this time? Okay, motion to close.
Okay.
Motion to close?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we will, on resolution 192-19, payment of the bills, a motion on that.
Motion to pay the bills.
Second?
Okay, roll call. Lisa?
Kelly,
Yes.
Martinelli,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Cirillo.
Yes.
Okay, next, the consent agenda on resolutions 19319 and 19419. Move for a motion to approve.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Roll call, Lisa?
Kelly,
Yes.
Martinelli,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
For the record, Mayor Shirillo has left the meeting.
All right. Okay, now for committee reports. Steve, do you want to go first?
Teresa, do you want to do Lisa's report, Township Administrator?
Well, it's up to you. Either one, whichever wants to go first.
Go ahead, hon.
Thank you. Just for the past month, again, I just want to thank the employees. A lot of employees with all the different events have stepped up to the plate, not only just working in their capacity, but also volunteering. We had an exceptional shred event this Saturday that we just had at Town Hall. Members of committee came out, Committeeman Turner, Committeeman Williams, Committeeman Martinelli. Teresa, unfortunately, is still a little under the weather. But employees also came out and volunteered. Quentin came out, Rick Rocchiello came out, Soren Hudema came out. We just had, between special events and environmental commission, just a great group of volunteers. They were definitely all needed for that day. I think we brought in more e-waste than we've ever had before, so I apologize to Public Works who had to handle that this morning.
Yes.
There was a lot, and I think that dumpster is probably full twice time over.
Correct.
But the good thing is, we're glad everybody dropped them off on Saturday, didn't leave it on the side of a road. So that's the reason why we had this. Just again to remind the residents, if you missed our shred event, we have it every year, but also once a month, you can also drop e-waste off at the Public Works Yard at the first Saturday of every month. So we encourage it and ask that you continue to do that. So thank you very much to the employees and committee for their continued support. Last but not least, you'll see some employees, every employee, probably different events, or even if you come down to Town Hall, will now be sporting some staff shirts for each of their individual departments or positions. I think it's one thing that we haven't had previously, especially as we have employees that go out and volunteer for different events. We never really had anything designated, so through this course of this year, we have special events shirts, we have environmental commission. MDA kind of kicked it off, and I stole that idea. I'm not shy to say that I stole the idea. And also now each of the employees have a shirt that they're able to wear also to Town Hall. So it's a great morale booster. Everybody is absolutely loving them, as well as the employees being designated when they're out. More specifically, tax assessor, when she is out, she also will now have a shirt on and also be designated. To let the public know, we've had some inquiries regarding the Census Bureau that has been out and around in the public. Many have called police on them. We do encourage, if you see suspicious activity, to please contact the police, but also note that the Census Bureau is out. They're supposed to have proper credentials. They're supposed to let you know that they're from there and show you their credentials as well, and they're going to be out even through the spring of next year. But if you do see something suspicious, by all means, please protect yourself and contact the state police. State police now has a direct line to the Census Bureau to be able to identify each individual that is out there on the street to indicate whether or not they are or not employed. So we just went through that over the past week. So with that, we'll include my report. Sorry.
Okay, thanks, Lisa.
Well,
And
Just
who-
wanted to shed
Lisa,
some exciting
who
news.
did you steal it from?
So the Municipal Drug Alliance
The
initially
Drug
started,
Alliance, okay.
yeah,
I wasn't sure what the
nice
initials were.
red shirts. So then we started with blue shirts for special events, green, and now we went to black shirts for this.
So we're stuck with red. We don't get
Well,
black
I was gonna
ones.
get hot pink
Hey,
for
Quentin,
you
we're
guys.
stuck with red, brother.
I got black, man.
Man, I got left out in the cold here. I got thrown under the bus. What's happening here? Listen,
Talk to Lisa, see if we can get some part-time hours at the King Center.
I know right where I stand. Dave Turner and I were talking before the meeting, which one of us was gonna have the briefest report. And I think Dave said 60 seconds, so I'm gonna run with 60 seconds. First thing, Larry, thank you very much for your support for the Veterans Appreciation Breakfast. You brought out a record crowd I appreciate all them folks. I appreciate your time and effort. You may want to come up here. Now, Quentin talked about Jacqueline Hinker. She's the Department of Veterans Affairs. She is from Wilmington. She passed out all these brochures, and there are, I can't believe the benefits and opportunities for veterans who contact her and reach out to her. There are so many things, and I don't think our veterans know about it, but I'm pretty sure after I get done talking my 60 seconds here, Larry might want to comment, and you're more than welcome to come up here. The last thing, Lisa Tilton and her entire army of people this past Saturday, I don't know how many tons of stuff they shredded. I don't know how many electronics they stuffed in that dumpster, but they did a fantastic job, and I want to congratulate her on her oversight. Larry, you want to say something? Come on up to the mic, brother.
I mean, I don't know what else to say that I already said. I did talk to Quentin about continuing this on yearly, and I also talked to Steve about the possibility of doing something for Veterans Day.
November the 11th.
November the 11th. I mean, I'm going to a meeting on the 26th of September with the VFW, American Legions, and DAV, and I'm going to see if we can't split some people up. I'll have more information on that at a later time.
You call me anytime you want. You know that, brother.
Right, so,
Okay.
I mean, in regards to that, in regards to the breakfast, I thought it was great. I
It
mean,
was fantastic.
and I thought Quentin did a great job feeding everybody. I thought that was really good too. You know what I mean? And the representation was well. I mean, that was pretty cool.
Hey, we're talking about 80 people and their families, you know,
Right.
so
Yeah.
that was nice. I think that's the best one I've been to.
It was the most people, right? You said, Quentin?
We've had as
Most
few
people
as
we've had.
7. So, I mean, we've had as few as 7, but yeah, it was a great, you know, between the Veterans Home sending that, a bus, they sent a bus, people, Hamilton was represented well, but I will say this, there was a lot of people from this area. The Collins Lakes area,
Right.
It was a lot of people from Buena Vista Township, and that was the first time they had been in that building. So it was great to be able to showcase what we have for them and what we can do for them, and the resources that was made available to them were, I think it was priceless for them.
Well, they really didn't know what was going on, as did I didn't know what was going on until I came and talked to you. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But we're good.
Thanks, Larry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to say one last thing. Quentin, you provided one of the best breakfasts that I've had in a long time. I don't know how you managed to find all those volunteers, but my hat's off to you and your entire crew there. You all did a great job. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Steve.
That's it, Teresa.
And the only thing I would say, Quentin, is you need more volunteers to help you the night before, though. That's what you're gonna need next year, right?
I don't
Since-
trust anybody else.
I heard you were,
One-man show there.
when I heard you were up all night doing that, I was not too happy to hear that, so, but anyway. Okay, then, John, you're next. Committeeman
Yes.
John Williams.
Today I went to the Cross County Connection, Atlantic County Transportation Work Group. This was for the 5440 shuttle. And at this meeting, we went over the ridership reports. For August, we had 1,081 total for 22 operating days, for a total passenger per day of 49. So we're starting to make a comeback, and it's increasing. And also, at this meeting, we discussed the implementation of a new schedule, which will be effective October 14th. Maybe you can get a shot at that. And at,
Well, he didn't do it. but-
okay. And on October 14th, they're going to implement the new schedule for the shuttle, and this will include a change of the morning and afternoon schedules, right, Quentin?
Yeah,
And
we're adding an extra shuttle in the PM hours, and basically, the operating hours are gonna be a little bit more compressed, so there won't be a large gap between the morning service and afternoon service. There'll only be about a 2.5 hour gap, and we're providing more trips to Richland, an additional trip to Richland, because we're able to do that. So it's gonna work out well. It's highlighting the train station, so the bus will actually be holding in position, waiting for the train on 2 different stops, because we were just like a minute before or 2 minutes after. So the bus will always wait for the train, because that was our largest bus stop last year, before it went out for several months.
And this is a copy of the new schedule, which will be the new brochure that'll be going out soon, and we're going to be delivering that all over the place. And we're also going to put some of the bus stops, the new bus stops that we have, with the information boxes, and then we're also going to have them on the shuttle at the, and we're going to have them available at the Martin Luther King Center. So, and we'll also get them out to local businesses also, right?
Yep.
And they will also be in the calendars when they go out this year,
Yes,
too.
we talked about that, about implementing,
That's what I really
getting
like
them
about
as soon as we could, so we could insert them in with the calendars, and they'll go out with each calendar. Also, I attended the, as Steve mentioned, the Shredder event, and that was a really good event this year, and a lot of people came out and dropped off the electronics as well as the shredder, paper shredder, things that they had for documents and checkbooks and things like that. Also, I attended the League of Municipalities dinner, and at this dinner there was 2 presentations, one on the American Red Cross, and that was, we're having a blood drive here, right? And when is that, Lisa?
October 9th.
Yeah, Wednesday.
Wednesday, October 9th. Okay, and that'll be here at the Township Hall. And also, we discussed a implementation of a 200 club in Atlantic and Cape May counties. And Peggy Mallon, who's the president emeritus, her husband passed away in 1986. He was shot and killed. And then she had found out there was this 200 club in North Jersey, but there was no Cape May County 200 club. So she started that 200 club, and what that is for any fallen member of the police, fire, or rescue operations, they extend money to the family. And for membership in the 200 club, it's $100. So, and this is a membership application I have here, and anybody can join this, and they supply the money, get the money to them, correct, David? Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay, and then, and that also goes, the checks you make payable to the 200 Club and mail them to 200 Club of Atlantic and Cape May County, P.O. Box 622, Northfield, New Jersey, and this, anybody can join that. So that was interesting how they explained all the people that have that were stricken with the that were killed in the line of duty, and how that helps their families. I also attended the Sustainable Jersey seminar was on what's going to happen with Sustainable Jersey in the next 10 years, and Teresa and I attended that, Deputy Mayor Kelly, and I attended that, and that was on, was that Tuesday?
Last Tuesday.
Last
yeah.
Tuesday, and we discussed any plans we can for changing or making any suggestions for how the Sustainable Jersey could continue in the future. And one suggestion that came up that was really interesting was that they have somebody review each one of the participants once a year and then review all their categories. So I know we'll put in for bronze this year, but that's what they said, that would help the groups, so they wouldn't be scrambling to get the applications in all at once at the end. And that's about it, Teresa.
Okay. David Turner, committeeman?
We have a blood drive coming up, right, Lisa?
That is correct.
Uh-huh, okay. And it's like they pushed it, because I found out the other night when we were at the league meeting, and I really didn't know, but the Red Cross actually sells the blood to the hospitals. And I knew it, but I had forgotten it. And I said, oh, that's how they get their funds. So, come out on the 9th there and give blood if you see fit too. And October 19th is the Halloween at Sawmill Park. Kids always have a good time. I've been there the last couple of years. It's been windy and cold, but the kids have a good time for that. October 2nd, 6th Road. They're going to, DOT is going to be at the railroad tracks on 6th Road to inspect them. And hopefully, down the line this year, they're going to replace that with the cement buffers.
That's correct.
And everything. And they said Jackson maybe not till following year, but we're going to push that and see if we can get that done. And my normal duties of the township, I ride the township once a week and look and see what's going on. A lot of dumping. A lot of dumping going on. I went down 8th Street today, somebody had toilets on the side of the road. I said, well, hey, they must like 8th Street for the toilets. This is about the 4th time. Right, Brian?
Yes.
I tell you, it's something else there. And on parking 8th, Brian's crew cut down a tree. I was looking at a property for one of my friends, and a guy stopped me, and the tree almost hit my car. It was a great big tree, missed me by a couple feet. But the next day, Brian and his crew went out with a bucket truck and cut it down. Thank you so much, sir. We have good people working for this township and every department, and that's all I have.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Turner. And I'll just add a few announcements for my report. The American Red Cross Blood Drive is going to be, and it's going to be in the newsletter. A lot of this information will be in the newsletter that'll be coming out to everyone soon. Wednesday, October 9th, 2019, and it's going to be from 2 to 7. So you'll have that information. Also, early in October is Fire Prevention Week, October 6th to 12th. And we want everyone to come out and support their local fire companies in the township. Collings Lakes is having their annual open house on Friday, October 4th from 7 to 9 p.m. And that's where all the children can meet their firefighters. They get little fire hats and other gifts that they can give out. And they have vehicle extraction demonstration, forest fires, firefighting displays, and it's always a big turnout every year, so we encourage everyone to come out. And East Vineland Fire Company is holding their open house on Saturday, October 19th from 5 to 8. Everyone is welcome to attend to see the fire trucks, demonstrations, and more that they are also having. And also, I just want to remind everyone, we're having our township calendar ads. If anyone is interested or has a business that they know of that would like to be in the calendar, this is the time to have that opportunity. So we always do well with that, and so we're encourage anyone that would be interested in putting an ad in there. This is the time. And Historic Friendship Church is having the Pine Barrens Archaeology presented by Dr. R. Allen Mournier, author of Looking Beneath the Surface, the Story of Archaeology in New Jersey. And this is going to be September 29th, Sunday at 3 o'clock, followed by an old-fashioned hot dog roast and toasted marshmallows. This is a free event. Donations will always be accepted to benefit the preservation of the Historic Friendship Church. and that's on Weymouth and Friendship Roads in Landisville, New Jersey. It's right to the left of the high school. So always a nice event. They are preserving that and having fundraising to keep that going. And they have a number of events throughout the year. So the next one is Sunday, September 29th at 3 p.m. if anyone is interested in that. And I think they are the highlights that I have. So next we'll go to the, we'll open to the public one last time, if anyone from the public. You want to read, Steve, the public comment section?
Item 14, public comment. The committee welcomes participation of interested organizations and individuals during a regular caucus, workshop, and special meetings. However, in order to conduct the business of the township in the most productive manner possible, attendees will be given 4 minutes, all-inclusive, including all dialogue, questions, and responses from both the speaker and the committee for the designated public portion of the meeting. There may be no transference of a speaker's time to other attendees. Please stand up to the microphone at the appropriate time. State your name and address for the record. Thank you.
Okay, could I have a motion open to the public?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, anyone from the public would like to come up? This is the time.
Good evening. My name is Fred Akers, 175 9th Street. And I'm here tonight to kind of make a citizen report that I'm having some trouble out on 9th Street with Shore Animal Control and controlling feral cats in the township. And I'm sorry to report that I've had to go to the clerk's office for help and impose on them, and they're very good with helping. But I'm going to tell you my story about it. It's caused me to research Chapter 74 of the Township Code for Animal Control, which I've determined is really pretty comprehensive. It's good. And I've reviewed the contract with Shore Animal Control. So what's going on is I live out in the woods, and I have pet cats and pet dogs that are licensed. I pay a lot of money to have the shots and medical care. I just had to put 2 down this year because they had cancer. So I'm very active. We have saved probably 2 or 3 dozen animals in our lifetime, my wife Julie and I. So we get these animals we rescue them and we keep them. So occasionally what occurs is feral cats will come on my property, and they'll actually come into my garage where my cats hang out, and you know it's a problem. They carry diseases. They're a nuisance as defined in Chapter 74. And what I've done over the years is I have have-a-heart traps, and I trap them, and then I call animal control to come and pick them up. So it's pretty simple for them, and I'm pretty good at it now, and I have trail cameras. So maybe 3 years ago, I had one that was hanging around, and I caught it, and Shore Animal Control was the new animal control company for Buena Vista Township. So I caught it, and I called them up, and I really got a hard time. I shouldn't be trapping cats. And I just wanted them to come and pick it up. So they came and picked it up, and they took my trap too. So that, you know, and the previous animal control guy would come out and he would transfer, you know, these animals that I caught, you know, these are cats, and he would put them in his truck and take and go, and my trap would be there, and I could use it again if I needed. So they took my trap, and they didn't bring it back, and they gave me a really hard time because the cat, when it was in the trap, scraped itself up by freaking out in the trap. And so they were giving me a hard time, and it was almost like they confiscated my trap. They weren't going to give it back to me because they didn't like what I did. So I had to come to the township at that time, and I eventually got a different trap back than the one that they took from me. So they think all traps are equal, and if you go to buy a trap, you could shop traps like a lot, and there's all different kinds and different costs and manufacturers and so forth. So they did give me a trap back, which was okay. Meanwhile, I bought another trap because you never know, I never know when I'm gonna need it. So I had to buy another trap. So I caught another cat that year and called them up, and they came out and mysteriously they transferred that one from my trap, and they left my trap. So then a year passed, and I'm not looking for trouble, but, you know, this year another cat showed up. It was in my garage. So I know to do the traps so that when I call them, it's during the week. So that's in their contract, it's, you know, business hours. So I caught this cat in my garage, and it wasn't freaking out. It was, you know, fairly calm. So I call them up, and they don't like it. And they tell me things like, oh, well, we only come to Buena Vista one day a week, you know, and today isn't our day kind of a thing. So they eventually came out. I'm used to getting a hard time from them. So they eventually came out, and they took my trap, and I put a tag on it this time. So I have my name tag on there. And they told me they'd bring it back in a week. And 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks passed, they didn't bring it back. So this week, I sent a letter to the mayor and to the clerk's office, and they communicated with the Shore Animal Control. They called me up, and they told me, well, we gave you your trap back already. So we gave it back to you already, and they did not. So now they're lying. They confiscated, it was the second time they confiscated my trap, and they said they gave it back to me, and they did not. So anyways, I'm assuming they will. And in my study, I don't want to bore you with the details, but in my study, there's some pretty strict things that they're supposed to do. And one of them is I'm going to read this. The contractor shall, within 6 hours of receipt of said communications that you have a nuisance animal, apprehend by proper means all stray animals and animals running at large, and shall transport them at the contractor's expense to the Atlantic County Animal Shelter. So I would think that if I'm going to catch the cat, it's really easy for them. They don't have to come out and like look around for it. Maybe it's not there right then, and then come back later. So you would think that it would be easy for them. And here's another provision in the contract that is noteworthy. Shore Animal Control Services shall provide, no, that's not the one here, wait a minute. There's one where they're gonna bring you a trap. I'm not seeing that in my notes here. Oh, here it is. Shore Animal Control Service will provide residents with humane traps for the capture of feral and stray cats. So what I'm gonna do next time, now that I know what the contract says, if I have a problem with a nuisance cat, I'm calling them up and telling them to bring me a trap right away, according to their contract. And then I'll hopefully catch it, and then they can take it trap and all, because it'll be their trap. So I just want to let you know that the animal control, Shore Animal Control is really not that good. I'm not a fan of theirs. They're liars. They're stealing my traps.
Do you have names that you dealt with or talked to on the phone? I don't want them now, but just.
Yeah.
Okay, so this way.
Yeah,
All
they're
right, good.
We've set Fred up directly with the owner of Shore Animal Control, which I believe called Friday, a couple times, I believe, because we did speak with her as well. We didn't want any of the other individuals working there to contact you. We wanted the owner to contact you
She
directly.
called me, and then one of their officers called me.
Okay.
Supposedly the one that picked it up, and she says, well, I think I dropped it back on your porch. And so-
Maybe the wrong house.
So, I mean, if they're professional and they did that, they could do like what Amazon does, where they take a picture of it when they drop it off, with the time dates when they did it. So they didn't offer a date or a time. And, I'm not gonna lie that they did, and I'm gonna try to get another trap out of them. I don't, I'm not-
But Fred, I think that's a better idea. They do bring traps and leave them, so you might want to do that, not, lose your own trap, so.
Yeah, so I don't know if other residents have similar circumstances or issues, but I wanted to
Mostly
bring
they
it to.
bring out, I know of people, they bring the traps to them and then they collect them
Okay.
the end of the day. So I know they do that, so you might be better off than losing more traps, the way that seems to be.
Yeah, I had a similar problem about a year and a half ago when there was a cat, a feral cat, and there was 6 kittens. So they came and got the kittens, and they do use like a main trap, and they left the traps, and then they came back until they caught them, and then they came on another occasion and then caught the rest of them.
Yeah, so for them, it's a lot of
And
time.
then they took the mother and then they neutered
To
her.
be chasing after a cat, where if the homeowners, like, I knew that the cat I just caught was coming into my garage between 11 and 4 o'clock at night, you know, I had that, so it was pretty simple. I just removed the food, my cat's food at nighttime, so that cat didn't have anything to eat, it got pretty hungry. And then 2 days later, I put the trap out, pow, there it was.
All right, well, thanks for,
So-
reporting
Hey,
that, Fred. and-
Fred, don't go away yet. Don't go away yet. I got a story to tell you, because, and I'm not making light of your story. About 15 years ago, I went and bought one of them big Havahart traps, and they're very expensive. And I had a cat, a feral cat, was coming in my yard and killing all the rabbits. So I said, well, I'm gonna catch this cat, and I'm gonna make him, find another residence. So I set the trap up. No, this is good. You're gonna like this. So I set the trap up, and the next morning, I'm hearing all this ruckus out there. And I went out there and I caught the biggest skunk I ever seen in my life.
Skunk.
Now, do you know how hard it is to get a skunk out of a trap? Huh? My last experience with a Havahart trap. That's it, all done. Bring the cats on, I'm good. I'm good. I'm all good. I went out there with a tarp like a moron in front of me, trying to see where I was going, and laid it over top of the trap, and then I had to lift the thing up and then run. No more traps for me. My luck, I'll catch a tiger next time.
Well, I just, a final word, I think the township's rules for animal control in chapter 74 are very well thought out. I mean, they're older now, but they're really good. They require rabies shots and licensing for everything, and that's the way it should be. And that's really what keeps the animal population down, is if people that own their animals get them neutered and make sure they're healthy. That's the best.
And as you know, feral cats are destroying the bird population. It's amazing what one cat will destroy, like over a couple hundred birds a year. And there has been a decrease in birds now in our state, and that's one example as a problem, yes.
Well, I'm trying to do my part.
All right, thank
But
you.
it isn't easy.
Thank you.
All right.
One last thing, I heard you say about, they said they only come to Buena Vista once a week, and they told me the same thing about a year ago. I said, no. I said, you will come and take care of this problem. My next door neighbor, he has all kinds of whatever he has. So they did come, after I told them, I said, you're not gonna make me wait a week, come on, So they did come, And I usually don't get too nasty with people. I almost had to get nasty with them, but, I'm glad you told us that.
Yeah, I got mad. I'm trying to mind my own business. It's like, how could you view my personal property? How could you just confiscate that when I'm helping you? I mean, the least you could do is if you're borrowing my traps, you should take good care of them and bring them back to me. That's a common deal.
Thank you, Fred.
All right. Does anyone else have, Julie, go ahead.
Julie Akers, Newtonville. I wanted to follow up a little bit with Fred. We had to Oprah the copy of the contract to check that out. I have a few concerns that Fred didn't bring up. First of all, thank you, Lisa and Lori, because they did provide all the information. And Fred's right, it is kind of a shame that, we do contract with them, regardless of what the costs are. I'm always talking about costs, but regardless of that, they should be doing what they say they're going to do. I have some other issues with them. One is the TNR, the Trap, Neuter, Release program. Does Buena Vista have a program for trap, neuter? So that's not something we do here? Okay, so the first time Fred had the problem with the cat, the guy asked, does it have a notched ear? So he wanted to know if that was one of the cats in that program. So number one, they shouldn't be in our community. I know my son lives in Buena Borough, and they have, his next door neighbor has probably 10, 15 cats there with the notched ears, and they're all over the place. My other concern, so we don't have a TNR program, and that's
There
not something.
isn't there a state program that they can get subsidized
I
for
mean,
that?
we do not contract for
No,
a
it's-
program for
No, I
for
mean, do we
TNR.
allow it? So I didn't see
Oh, yeah.
anything in our on our code, because if you look at the State Department of Health, they say
No.
that they don't really pass a decision one way or the other. But I would say, if it comes up again, we were kind of pressured a little bit, like, well, why don't you want this cat here? You know, we take care of neutering it, and we put it back here.
Maybe send them a picture of the cat on my cell phone before they get the picture.
So Teresa brought up a real good comment that, you know, cats, whether they're, you know, pets or whether they're feral cats, can really damage, you know, local wildlife. They're not meant to be wild animals. They're not part of the wild animal ecosystem out there. So I just hope we don't ever do that, condone doing that, and I think that is something we would have to set up by ordinance to do.
It would
Am I
have to be
correct?
set up by ordinance, and I will say that is something that actually Sustainable Jersey promotes, is TNR programs. We've never initiated that through the township code to do it, but they do promote that municipalities conduct
Why?
or hold some type of TNR program, because one of the actions in Sustainable Jersey is to be able to show reduced population as well as increase in registration, because they want the property owners. It's a catch-22. Once you take possession of an animal and you feed the animal, it becomes your animal. They want you to TNR that animal, and then once you do that, you're then required by law to register the animal. So it's a catch-22.
So register, get it rabies shots and all? How do you catch
Even
another
if,
feral
even if
cat?
it's, even if it's an outdoor
Once you
cat.
caught it once, okay. No, I mean, I
Yep.
would highly recommend, don't go for the points on that, okay? So I don't think we need that one. So I see
I'm
how
just-
it works
It's
in
weird, 'cause
action.
Sustainable Jersey wants you to do that. But no,
Okay.
I've never
Okay, well, our
gone
experience
through
is,
that action.
Yeah, I think whoever does it probably has offered it and it's not consistent, and if their
Right.
funding's available, whoever they're catching it, they'll ask them, so I guess it's depending on the funding, if it's there or not, it's not all the time, I guess.
well, when we come up to contracting again, that's something that I felt like, you know, they personally were like, why aren't you doing it? Why don't you want to take this cat? So I think this group is very different from Mr. Hill's group, and I know Mr. Hill's passed on. But I just think there's more of a thing for like cat welfare, feral cat welfare, than there really is for protecting the health and safety of not just residents, but, you know, the local wildlife too. So that was good to hear. And I'd like to thank Lisa and everybody in the office for accommodating some of my requests. I had brought up last month about the costs that have been accumulated so far for the Public Works building, for the preparation for that, especially in light of the fact that the bids had to be thrown out. So I'm not saying that, you know, that building doesn't need to be redone. I used to work there, and I remember it was very old. My question, though, is I did get a lot of information from Lisa, and she had to delve into a lot of stuff because it's not easily found. It's not all within one line item. There's engineering services, buildings and grounds, other legal services, administration, plus an ordinance, reappropriating from, you know, another ordinance. But I came up with a number, which could be off a little bit, of about almost $80,000 to date of what we've spent for that. So I'm assuming that we're going to, and I broke it down, we had just Mr. Fleischman with the bonds, for preparation of the bonds, of about, you know, $13,000. Some of his bills combine other bond discussions, so I try, you know, and I don't want, and I also sent this to Lisa to be distributed to everybody, just so, and I felt it was important that we should all have an idea of how much we are spending to get a loan or to get a grant. And we have a bond or bond anticipation note, or is that the one that's all been rolled into the 5.5 million?
No.
This
So
is separate.
Yeah, the bond anticipation note for the USDA is separate standalone, because eventually that will go away once we get the
Get the loan
funding
now.
from the USDA. That pays off the ban,
Okay.
and then we just have the loan.
Okay, and you did explain that to me before, and I forgot that one. But we have a subtotal for Dave and the engineering of about $59,000. So, and I'm just taking this anytime it's, and thank you, Lisa, anytime I see something on the bill list, I would go and say, okay, if it's engineering services other, and then I look at the invoices, okay, if this is for the Public Works building or the USDA loan, then I put that down. Are you also the architect, Dave, or is there an architect?
No, actually, our firm is kind of, everything passes through our firm.
Okay.
There's the architect, there's a mechanical engineer, the electrical engineer, the fire protection engineer. All of that
So that
passes
probably
through.
all comes into
That all
this number.
passes through. Our number's very small because the vast majority of it is
Yeah, so
the
it's
actual
just
architect stuff.
coming through, this is how the bills were paid. So
Yes.
that's, includes probably all those, all the subcontractors,
Correct.
I'll say. And then the other one was Triad, and Triad was about $6,000, so just getting the grants. So it's just something I wanted to bring up. I think, Dave mentioned in his report, they're going to go out to try to redo that, so I've said it before, I'm not saying professionals work for nothing, I'm not saying that, but it's just something that we have to keep adding up. So right now, that's about 10% of, and we're not gonna get reimbursed for this, is my understanding. So all these soft costs aren't gonna get reimbursed. So this is just what it's gonna cost us to get that loan. And this is one project I looked at, I'm sure there's other ones, and there are projects that are done that are really good projects. So I don't want to say, no, we should never spend any money on anything. But I just think it's important to keep track of that, and I do thank Lisa, and I don't know who else worked with you to delve through all that stuff, Lisa.
There's about 3 of us.
Okay. So I don't want to waste people's time. It's just kind of an awareness of, that's what we're spending. I mean, I looked at, we just had the 2 grants that we're gonna get for the community development block grants to go for doing stuff on the Martin Luther King Center, and that amounts to less than this. That's about $65,000, $67,000. So it's just something that I think in the realm of things, it's something we should be aware of. And then things that are really important that the money should be spent on. I mean, there's other really important things like the post-road contamination issue, which I think could really, build up a lot more. So that's all. Otherwise,
right.
I appreciate.
Thank you,
what you're
Julie, and I'll let you and the public know we are aware of all the costs. We're all involved in every cost. This kind of project is a one-time, lifetime project, so it may be more costly than other projects, and so we're doing what we can. Once we do this building, that'll be probably it for the rest of
Well, it's
Buena
not as-
Vista Township's
Not
life,
as
so.
expensive as the lighting. Michael Debbie Park.
But I'm
was
just
more.
answering your question, that we are aware of it, and just letting you know that in the public. And then also the Post Road, we're also aware of that, and we're doing everything we
Oh, and I
can under the
understand, and that's
guidelines
something
too.
that's gonna keep adding,
Yeah, no, just to answer your question and to assure your worry.
Okay, well, thank you, Lisa, for tabulating it up, and I will keep doing that, and appreciate the time on it.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. All right, anybody have anything else before we adjourn the meeting? Dave?
I have something if I may.
Yes, please.
A couple of months ago, at the planning board, we approved the tractor supply for Wheat Road.
Yes.
I understand now they've got all of their other approvals in place, or they're pending. We're gonna have a pre-construction meeting the first week in October, and then they'll be starting construction on that. So if you see anything going on out there, that's what it is. Tractor supply coming to Buena Vista Township.
Okay, good. Another thing that'll help us with the ratables, so we're happy about that.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks, Dave, for reminding us. Anybody else before we adjourn? All right, a motion to adjourn?
Moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, good night, everyone. Thank you.
Happy fall, everybody.